We are promoting elder safety and well-being on Tuesday, November 12th, starting at 10:30 in the morning. And I am joined by Amber Espar and Amy Tai from True Story Theater to talk to us about this great program. Amber, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today.
A pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be here.
I'm really looking forward to this collaboration. We're doing this in partnership with the Civic Education Alliance, and just so excited to be able to bring this important community conversation in an artistic format to Quincy. Tell me a little bit about True Story Theater. How long have you been doing this kind of theater?
We've been serving the community, the greater Boston area and beyond, for almost 20 years.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
How big is the company?
The company is an ensemble of about, right now we're almost 20 people who volunteer our time to come and enact stories of our communities.
So 20 people, 20 years?
Yeah.
Have you all been involved for the 20 years? Or?
No, it's an evolving troupe, so depending on who's available to join, people join for the year, and we do almost 80 shows a year in different community settings. It's not a theater that's like in a stage performance like at a kind of what a typical theater, but it's a theater of people. So we come to the venues and the communities that invite us to come and support telling their stories.
How do you get the stories in the first place to tell?
How do we collect them?
Yeah.
Ah, great question. The theater is improvisational, so it's in the moment, and often the performances will have a theme, like this one coming up, around supporting families and caring for the well-being of our elders in our community. And from that theme, then people are interviewed. There's a person who's the conductor for the show, and they'll just have a conversation, sort of like what we're having now, about a moment in your life. And then the actors will be listening deeply to your experience. And then we create a short artistic improvisation using movement and song and scenes to embody the heart of what we just heard. So it's really a theater of empathy.
That sounds fascinating. How long do each of these pieces, how long does the interview usually take? How long do each of the pieces that you present? Are these, long form, you're presenting 2-hour dramatic productions of people's lives off of a 5-minute interview? I doubt that's what's happening. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we really want to hear from many voices in the room. So some moments will just be a short question of how are you feeling in this moment? Maybe two contrasting feelings about, say, being the primary person caregiving for your parent. And so we would take those two feelings and hand them over to the actors, and they would create a scene related to that experience. Then we might also ask someone else who wants to share a longer experience, maybe they've been going through a challenge with caregiving, or, for example, one of the themes that we've been noticing in these performances to support elders has been around financial scams. I myself just got a phone call like the other day saying the IRS is coming after you, and I was realizing, like, it sounded really real. Right. And I know that can be really challenging for families, so part of our work is both, this show is about education as well, like just.
You mean our social security numbers are not being paused? I get that call. I feel like every week when they tell me this. So your social security card is being investigated. Yeah. Somebody may be coming. This is the last call before we'll arrest you. I was like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the one. I got that.
Yeah.
And so we might interview you about that experience, or perhaps one of your parents got that call and actually pursued and felt that it was a real call. And so we might hear that story and that experience from you, and then the actors would then create a scene, and maybe that's a few minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes of theater. And then it's a ritual of conversation, of a form of dialogue. So after you see this performance about your experience, we'll check back in. What was that like to see? Did that feel like it captured some of your experience? Is there anything else important that you want to share?
I have some more questions. I'm curious to explore this a little bit more. But Amy, I'm so glad that you joined us as well, and I don't want to have Amber and I just dominate this conversation. So are you an actor in the company? What's your role?
Actually, I'm a board member.
A board member, great.
And I will be leading the board starting at the end of this year.
A emerging leader, that's fabulous.
Well, so I was going to add, though, just about the performance itself, or the space itself, that the real goal of our work is to build, connection and compassion and empathy and community. And by the end of a performance, everybody in the room, whether it's 12 people or 30 people, really there's a very, palpable, marked change in the room in terms of how people feel toward each other. You come in as a group of strangers and you leave as truly connected because you hear people's real stories. Being listened to is so powerful, and listening is so powerful, and being able to see the evolution of, people whose stories get from the internal place of being alone with it to out there where people are supportive and validating. It's very, very powerful.
That sounds very powerful.
Yeah.
I wonder, because we're talking about personal safety and well-being, these are very these strike at our core, and that's obviously why you get powerful connections. But to do that, there's some risk involved, obviously, to the actors as you're exposing yourself, the people who are actually, anytime you're on stage, people know that feeling if you've ever stepped on a stage or thought about stepping on a stage. But you're asking people to share stories too. How do you create that kind of safe environment so that people can comfortably take those kind of risks that are that obviously have this great potential? And it sounds like you've obviously have a proven track record of doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how.
So
How do you make sure people are safe?
I'll talk as a audience member first, because I haven't actually been. I'm one of the more newer members.
Okay.
Probably I have been involved with True Story Theater only for the last couple of years, and I went in as an audience member.
Well, tell me then first. Let's back up a second. What drew you to True Story in the first place? Why did you first go as an audience member?
Well, I met Anne Ellinger, who is one of the founders of True Story Theater,
Okay.
and then I met her husband, Christopher, who's sort of the he's the outgoing director, but he is also, the two of them founded True Story Theater, is that correct? And so, and just meeting them and then I read the website and I was like, wow, this sounds amazing, like really, really exciting. And so after I read the website, I was like, I'll go, and she invited me to one of the events, and I walked in the room and it was only like 10, 15 people. I was like, wait a minute, what kind of theater is this going to be with only this few people? But I've been to shows with all sorts of numbers, and it doesn't matter because whoever's there like that. So how do you create the safety, you asked?
Yeah.
I think that the conductor, the person who is leading, facilitating, and whoever is doing it, really is skilled at creating that through whether it's how we talk about what it means to be human being on right now in our society, that even the tone, we know that tone is so important. Human beings hear things from body language much more than they do from words. It's they say some huge percentage of what we're actually taking in is body language as opposed to the words, right? So you create through empathy and through just being a person who looks like that person looks safe, that person looks like they have room for me to share, and that it's safe here. And so you can say something explicit, but you also just the way the attention of the actors and the troupe and the way the actors share as well, because the actors share to begin with something about their experience with the theme. So the theme might be racism or gay oppression or death and dying, or and all those themes are usually hard for people to talk about in a regular, normal, conventional
But we all
setting.
have been impacted and actually have personal stories with each of those issues.
Exactly. And those at every story is important. And I think, we always try to say your story is important, and every human being's story is important, and this is a place for us to really honor that. So I think there are a lot of different ways that gets communicated, but we never have a lack of people sharing. And I think that's basically the human conditions. We are all dying to share something of ourselves to the world, and when there's safety,
And nobody's ever pushed to share something beyond what they're comfortable.
nobody's
I'm sure, too.
ever, and it's totally volunteer,
Yeah. Do you ever get to a spot, I can imagine, where somebody's sharing something and you realize, wait a second, this is going a place that is really not such a good place to do in public? Has that ever happened? I'm just thinking like, oh.
I'll let you answer that since you've
Yeah.
had much more experience.
Yeah, we work with people to guide what is shared and
Yeah.
encourage people to share at a level that feels appropriate for them. And once again, people are welcome to just come and witness. It's always an invitation versus a you must share.
Right.
And if there's a story that feels like it may be too tender or not appropriate for the space, the conductor will re-guide that or just say, let's pause there. We'll see the actors embody so far what we have. But at the same time, it's the space that we create, we really can dig into some of the more painful as well as joyful moments in our lives. So I think it creates a very ample space for the range of human experience to be honored, to be cared for, to be heard deeply.
I also thought of something in the
Yeah.
last show that I was at.
Great.
The conductor had to just remind the teller to always talk from the I perspective. And that's
so important in
really the most
communication.
important thing, I think, because when you talk from the I perspective, you know, this is my feeling, this is my perspective.
It may not be your truth, but I can speak about my truth.
It can hardly
Yeah.
be inappropriate, right?
Great. Well, I'm really excited about this, and I understand we have a little clip from something that you did at the Kennedy Center recently that we're going to share with folks here just in a couple of minutes.
Wonderful.
So is there anything you want to say to set up that clip for us? I don't know.
This was work that we came to the Kennedy Center and did a show on the similar theme around wellness and elder safety. And what was unique about this performance, and we will be doing at the show coming up at the library, which we're just delighted to be coming to the Quincy Library, the Cranes Library. We will begin, part of the show will actually be the first stories will be compilations of real experiences that people in the community have had. And so we'll be having somebody read those moments, and the actors will respond to those stories. And because it can be a sensitive topic, that's why we chose to have an anonymous story to begin with. But it's an anonymous story that is actually sharing about what is happening in our community, and we hope through that will then open up other people to say like, yeah, I relate, and here's my experience that may connect to that or not. And I was really amazed of how people did begin to share what was really on their hearts. And this storytelling space is for people who are in the role of being caregivers for family members. And it's also for elders who want to share their own experiences of receiving that care. And it's also a time to, we partnered to be able to also connect people with resources. So after these stories are shared, what do you do next? How do you connect to what's available in the community?
And I know that's one of the main reasons why the folks at the Civic Education Alliance are excited
Yes.
about co-sponsoring this with us here at the library, so we can help. We connect people with resources all the time in the library, but there are a lot of people in the community who have much deeper access to additional resources. So I'm really glad that they're sponsoring this with us, and we'll be able to join us.
Yeah.
I know they're also going to be providing translation into Cantonese, which is exciting. Have you ever done this with a translation to Cantonese before, or is this a first time?
This will be the first time into Cantonese, but
Yeah.
we've been doing some translation work and feel it's really important to
Absolutely.
make this accessible, and feel like the power of the storytelling theater really allows people to get the impact of these stories and to hear sort of what experiences that they wouldn't necessarily. I think there's so many ways that we try to tell each other what to do and share services, but there's something about the embodiment and the space of listening that we hope to create and invite people into that really can help broaden that sense of community and break through perhaps some of the barriers of fear or shame that come up with a lot of these issues. A lot of people are going through tons of things, but because they're maybe afraid to reach out, either because of a language barrier or because of the stigma of saying, oh my gosh, this situation is out of hand or I don't know what to do, it's hard to say that. And so we're hoping as we kind of just make it that this is a common experience for so many of us in these roles of caring for our elders and being cared for, that we need to break through the taboo and the stigma of reaching out and asking for support and saying, I'm struggling here, I need something.
Well, I think this is really exciting and just a great way to combine these real stories that in our lives with artistic expression, because that has the ability to strike it, and, at these deeper levels that you've both kind of talked about.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that I know that you're able to do this work because of the Massachusetts Cultural Council, who is supporting the arts, and we're grateful we get funding from the Cultural Council for programs every year here, and I know that they've been a great supporter of you. And so that importance of supporting the arts so that we can have these real stories and kind of really enrich and kind of help us understand how do we live life, how do we live with people that are with ourselves and with the people that are close to us. It's really treasured, and I'm really glad to be playing a role in this, and I appreciate you taking the role, Amber and Amy. Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much.
So we'll show a clip here in a moment. I hope all of you will enjoy the clip and then come out and see us on Tuesday morning, November 12th at 10:30, when we will be promoting elder safety and well-being through interpretive theater. Thanks so much. I see you there.
So I was waiting for doctors to call, and I never answered the phone. I don't know the number, and this number looked like it might be them. And I picked it up, and they asked my name, and they said, "Is this you?" And I said, "Yes." And the minute I said yes, I knew I should never have said yes. So then I said, "I don't hear well." And I said, "I don't hear well. Could you please tell me who's calling?" And they mumbled something and hung up. So the minute that happened, I got so shook up because I had said yes, and I figured it was recorded. So I called one of the companies that asks me to do the voice recognition. And I said, "I don't want you to do voice recognition because this is what I just did. So take that voice recognition out." And then another company called and said they wanted me to do voice recognition. And I won't do it now because I've said yes, and I'm wondering what the side effects of that will be. But I am so grateful that you are confronting this because I was just caught off guard. I know better than to answer phone calls because I don't know, but it was because I was waiting for doctors and anyway.
So all from your perspective, let's watch a transformative story.
Hello? Who is this again? Speak up.
Yes, click. Oh gosh.
Hello? Are you my doctor?
Yes.
Yes. Hello?
Oh gosh.
Are you my doctor?
Oh, I know better. I know better. Okay, I know better.
No what?
No voice recognition.
Nope. I'm not falling for that again. Nope. Okay? I'm not gonna
I
do
know
it again.
I know better. My boundaries, my livelihood.
I want to share my story so other people don't have to deal with what I have to. Not again.
Mine.